What is going on? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk to you about Opendoor. I want to go over some of the data points, what is moving it, and go over everything else you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. So Opendoor is up 5.5%, largely piggybacking off of the broader market. In fact, NASDAQ is up 1.92%, S&P up 1.75%. The high so far is 504, the low 476. So all in all, doing very well. And hats off to the individuals that did buy Opendoor during the overnight trading, where it did have a low of $4.38. So that would have been a pretty good swing trade for those of you that monitor kind of overnight trading. But even today, we are seeing higher volume, and that, lo and behold, is exactly the main reason why Opendoor and the broader market is moving higher. So right now we're sitting at about 34 million shares being traded. We did have one data point, that was Michigan consumer sentiment, coming in at 57.3, forecast of 53, and then inflation, the expectations 3.5 versus 4. So all in all, pretty good stuff. But the broader market was already hyped up prior to this. So in reality, what really caused the market to recover is kind of just big money waking up. Big money woke up with the intention of just really pushing things higher. A lot of headlines are kind of portraying that it's Amazon and their 200 billion capex spend for 2026. That's the main reason why the broader market is moving higher. But if that was true, Amazon would be in the green, not red. So legitimately, big money kind of saw what's happened over the last several kind of trading days and decided to just say, hey, this is enough, at least for right now, because again, nothing really concrete has come out to really change a lot of the fears, rather than, like I said, just big money buying. There wasn't any news from Opendoor. Kaz did recently say this. So he mentioned that we have found a step function change in our underwriting. So that's typically something very big and substantial, but a lot of what we do should become faster as a result of this. So this isn't the first time that Kaz has fixed either the coding or a big procedure or operational update to make them more efficient. Efficiency results in more cost savings. So I think in general, Kaz is definitely the right man for the job. So hats off to him for doing that. There was one form that did come out, and that was on February the 4th. Since then, I haven't done a video since then, but there was a amended 13G, which did signal that Jane Street lowered their position to 28.6 million shares, and that was previously from 43.1. So I know a lot of people initially, when Jane Street did get in, they weren't really that optimistic about it, but the fact that Jane Street kind of sold, maybe that might be good for general people out there, but still, nonetheless, I don't really see it being that big of a deal, all in all. Regarding shorts are returning about 45,000 shares. 15.5% of the free float is being shorted. Works to be 121 million shares overall are being shorted. So good to see shorts kind of return, and that's more of a common thing across all the stocks I'm kind of looking at today, is that shorts were and are just returning. So that's kind of a good thing. In Opendoor's case, you still have some signs of naked shorting. So shares on loan being at 82.6 versus 121 million shares overall are being shorted. So that shouldn't happen. You should never have more shares being shorted than on loan. But looking at the options, 2.3 million in calls, 1.1 in puts, 48% of all the options being done are bearish in nature. From a bull standpoint, you see a consensus for it to be roughly around 5. There's about an hour left in the trading day on a side note, just so you have that as a benchmark. The expected move post earnings did also go down quite dramatically. I think it went from 17% to now 14.9%. But from a bear standpoint, you see consensus for it to be sub 5. So 5 is going to be a big deal for Opendoor as well. There is 18,000 in open interest at 5. So don't be surprised if shorts try to kind of wake up and suppress it below that level. So again, that's not the first time we've seen that level of kind of manipulation. On the secondary market, these are all the transactions that have occurred so far. most of which were in the first about hour and a half of the trading day, 1.3 million being the highest and then 406 being the second. These are all the transactions that did occur on the dark pool above $100,000. And you see actually a lot of whole numbers such as 140, 50,000. So big money and hedge funds are buying into Opendoor. As what I mentioned, that's kind of the biggest difference between today and a lot of the previous trading days, is big money's kind of buying things up, which again is definitely long past due. With it right now at 495, it is trading between this pivot and this S2. 480 is going to be a strong support. 504 is going to be that key point to really watch for it to kind of break above in the next couple trading days. Bounced off of that for the high, so that was kind of the high for today. And then similarly, if you think about it, 476 is the low, kind of as well bouncing off of this general S2. Aside from all of that fun stuff on the actual chart itself, it's kind of still hit and miss. The fact that it did stay above the 200-day moving average is generally a good thing, but it needs to get above that 10-day moving average, most likely early next week, Monday, Tuesday at the latest. If not, you will potentially see a retest of that general area of that 200-day moving average. But all in all, even looking at the market position, comparing today versus yesterday, a lot more willing buyers. So definitely good to see, in my opinion. Still no new analyst ratings. So last one was done on November the 11th. No real articles coming out about Opendoor or anything. But as I kind of showed you what Kaz disclosed through Twitter, he's definitely at it behind the scenes, changing all the coding to make the overall business more efficient. So like I think honestly, Kaz is that ongoing catalyst, despite the macro scenario that's playing out, despite consumers and everything. Like, Kaz is that catalyst that in theory should really push things higher. So let me know your thoughts on Opendoor. Are you buying? Are you selling? What are you generally doing? And one final thing, pop over to my Patreon if you're looking for some solid buy signals on stocks, options, crypto. Put out daily day trades, numerous swing trades. Worthwhile to pop over there and check that out. With all that, appreciate all of you watching.